These are some of my favourite horror books of all time. Hello friends, my name is Michaela. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things books. Now normally we talk about all things thriller books on this channel, but today we are going to be speaking about some of my favourite horror books that I have read. Let's start out with a bit of a disclaimer because I am quite new to the horror genre. I want to say it's maybe only in the last year or two that I've dipped my toe into the horror genre. Normally I'm a thriller book girl through and through. These are just the ones that I have personally read, an inexperienced horror reader, if you will. And if you're a thriller book lover, then you might love these too. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking the time to click on this video. I appreciate you more than you know. Without further ado, let's just get straight into it. The first book I want to start out with was actually a book that made it into my top 10 books of 2024. I loved it that much. And that is The Gathering by CJ Tudor. Something about me is I love a book about vampires. I think it stems from the fact that I was a Twilight girly. But anything to do with vampires, I'm immediately sold and I will buy the book. And that is what The Gathering is all about. This is set in small town Alaska. I want to say it's in a town where the population is 78 people. It's a small town, legit a small town. And in this town, humans and vampires live side by side. They know all about each other and they live kind of in harmony. They've got an agreement where the vampires don't kill the humans and the humans don't come for the vampires. Until one day a young boy is found with his throat slashed open, looking very suspicious, and a vampire may have been the person that that did it. Detective Barbara Babs, she is called in to investigate, and if the vampires are found guilty of unaliving this little boy, then their colony will be wiped. Talk about high stakes. No pun intended. Stakes, vampires. Get it? I'll see myself out. The vampires in this are obviously saying they didn't do it. So it's kind of a police procedural as well, actually, which is my favorite. I love a police procedural. So yeah, the vampires are saying that they didn't do it, but the head of the vampires is this little girl that looks like she's 9 years old, but in reality she's 600 years old. Now I don't know about you, but that is absolutely terrifying. This book absolutely blew me away. I went into it, I've read a couple of CJ Tudor books and I've not loved them. I've read The Burning Girls and I've read The Drift. Both of them I didn't love, but wow, this book was the easiest 5 stars probably that I gave to in 2024, and it's a horror. Honestly, look at me go. Actually, I've just had a realization. My best book of 2023 was also a horror. We're going to get to that. Keep watching. Maybe I am secretly a horror girl through and through. The next book is The Housemates by Iain Wright. Now, I think this leans more into the territory of extreme horror versus horror. Now, I am not an extreme horror girly. I'm not. I've tried. I can't do it. I love horror films, like the Saw franchise, anything gory. I love it. But for some reason, in books, I can't do it. And I think that's because some of the descriptions, my mind goes wild and they're too much for me. Whereas when I'm watching a film, I can only see the images that are put in front of me. Clearly I've got a dark and twisted imagination, because when I'm reading those extreme horror books, no, sometimes I have felt physically ill multiple times. But The Housemates by Iain Wright does lean more extreme horror, but I wouldn't say it's too much. If you're a fan of Big Brother, I really think you would like this, because the setup of the book is exactly like Big Brother. 12 people have gone into a house under the guise that it's going to be a reality TV show, very similar to Big Brother. Then when they get in there, the challenges that they get are a bit disturbing. People are starting to die from the challenges. And it also becomes clear that every single person in the house has a terrible past. People are calling them cheats, thieves, abusers. What have they done? And the challenges, they just get more and more messed up as the book goes along. I want to say this is my peak book length, which maybe helped my enjoyment. I think it's between 200 to 250 pages. This was the definition of a page turner. I literally couldn't put it down. Actually, talking about Saw, this was very reminiscent actually of Saw. You know, how in the movies they get like a chance to like get out. So like if they do these challenges and they pass them, they can get out of them, but like they're very hard. So yeah, if you like Saw and Big Brother, this is your perfect book. It's got your name all over it. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the descriptions were very vivid. They were. But, like, I could handle it. So if, like, I can handle it, then I think you will probably be able to as well. So this does say, when you, like, go to download it, I think it's on Kindle Unlimited, I'm pretty sure it is, that it's part of a series. And I actually haven't read any of the other books in the series. It can be read as a standalone. So if you see that, don't let it put you off. Go download this book. Brother by Ania Ahlborn is very reminiscent to me of like Wrong Turn, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because it's set in the Appalachian Mountains where we follow a boy called Michael, whose family are a bunch of cannibals. Yeah. They live in like the secluded Appalachian Mountains in this like remote cabin, and they hunt people and eat them. Nice family, lovely. Definitely, you wouldn't want to go around there for your tea, would you? But our main character, Michael, like, he doesn't, like, really relate to his family. He doesn't agree with it. He kind of has to go along with it because he's part of the family. But, like, yeah, he's like, I don't really want anything to do with this. So he, like, gets a normal job and he starts to try and build his life to be able to move on and get away from his messed up family. God, you're going to need bloody therapy after that. Family therapy, literally. When Michael gets his job, he meets this girl called Alice and he puts the like steps in motion to be able to escape his family. But his brother is not having any of it. But this is a very character driven story. I would say like you really get to like know Michael, the main character, versus the plot. Like the plot is obviously what I've just explained, but this is like a full length novel. So it definitely leans more in the character driven versus like plot and action. And the book, the ending, oh my God, I will never forget the ending of this book as long as I live. I actually read this book around a pool in Ibiza. I don't think it was the vibe to be reading around the pool in Ibiza. And I remember I was actually reading it physically as well. And I'm sure people were probably thinking like everyone else has got like their silly little rom-coms and I'm there with like this book cover, like reading this. This is actually the only book I've read from Ania Ahlborn. So if you have got any other recommendations for me, please let me know because I would absolutely love to pick up more of her books. But yeah, Brother, absolutely incredible. And I know so many of you have actually read this because I've spoke about this before on my channel and love it as well. And yeah, good vibes, kinda. Shall we talk about one of my favourite authors of all time? Like my top 5 authors of all time. And she's a horror author, Rachel Harrison. God, I have got my pick in what books I'm going to recommend you because, oh my God, I love her books. I literally love her books so much. I don't think I can narrow it down. So we're gonna touch on 3. Okay, let's start out with So Thirsty. So Thirsty is actually Rachel Harrison's newest release. She has got a new one that is coming out in September, but So Thirsty was her last release. And again, it's about vampires. So in So Thirsty, we meet 2 friends as they are getting ready and they are going on a night out together. And they meet a group of people. They go back to like an after party when it turns out they may or may not be vampires. Something about Rachel Harrison is I think her writing, she just gets girlhood. She writes female friendships and female characters in just a way that I can relate to so heavily. And I feel like that about like the 3 books that I'm going to speak to you about. These are like my top 3 books from her. Another favourite and one I've actually got a tattoo of is Cackle. I wouldn't categorize this as a horror. I do see it's a witchy book, so I do kind of see why it would fall into horror. But Rachel Harrison to me isn't like an author I would immediately think of when it comes to horror, but she is a horror author. So listen to nothing I say, basically. This follows a girl named Annie who has moved to a new town for a fresh start. She's just like hit her 30s. She's going through a breakup. So she's moved to this town to kind of find herself when she meets a woman called Sophie who the whole town is afraid of. She may be the town witch. And again, the female friendships, the little side characters in this book. I've got a tattoo of Ralph. If you know, you know. And then this one is definitely horror. I can see why this one's a horror. And it is actually one of my favourite books of all time. And that is Black Sheep. I literally love it. I wish you could see my bookshelf because I've got like the American edition like on the top shelf, and then I've got the UK edition as well, because you can never have too many copies of your favorite book, all right? Don't let anybody tell you different. This one follows Vesper, and Vesper is from a cult family. So for all my cult lovers, this one is for you, because she escaped her family cult because she like didn't want any part of it. She didn't agree with it. Don't let people tell you what the cult is in this book, because you do find it out like 50 pages in, but in my opinion, it's a spoiler, because my reaction when I found out what sort of cult this was, oh my God. Anyway, so her family have disowned her. She's like living her best life when one day she gets an invitation to her cousin's wedding. So she's going to go back to the cult family and shit is going to go down from there. And Vesper is one of my favourite characters. She's one of my favourite female characters in any book I've read. I could relate to her so hard. Like the family dynamic and stuff. Yeah, girlhood, just female characters. Rachel Harrison gets it. And I am so excited for Play Nice. I literally can't wait. And it's only like 2 months till it comes out. I know it's going to be in my best books of 2025. I just know. I've got a feeling. This Is Where We Talk Things Out by Caitlin Doherty is one that you need to save for when you're in a reading slump, because this is like a 78-page horror novella that left me shook. I still think about it all the time. And I can't believe like a little 78-page book had this like effect on me. Now, obviously, what I can tell you about this book is going to be limited because it's literally 78 pages long. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do feel like you should go into this book pretty blind. But we meet Miller. Miller has an estranged relationship with her mum. They don't really see eye to eye. They don't really get on. When Miller's mum says, like, listen, I want to make a go of our, like, mother-daughter relationship. Please, will you come on, like, a little cabin break with me and we can try and talk things out. But when they get to this cabin, it's snowing and there's a storm. Of course there bloody is. There always is, isn't there? There literally always is. And she gets to this cabin and it's like decorated like her childhood home. Like her childhood bedroom has been recreated in this cabin. And that's all you need to know. Just go into this book blind. Save it for when you're in a reading slump because it'll snap you straight out of it. And just prepare to be shocked. Intercepts by TJ Payne is one that I don't really see people talking about. I very rarely see people talking about this book. I want to say I read it at like the start of 2024. And like I went into it like with not really many expectations, hadn't heard many people talking about it. And do you know those books where you're just like, what the fuck did I just read? This was one of those. So we meet Joe. Joe works in a high like security facility where they are experimenting on humans. They call these humans antennas and they are kept in a state of sensory deprivation, and the government is testing on these humans. Our main character Joe's going through it. He's got a bit of personal issues when one day he goes home and he starts to think that someone from like the facility is following him. So, like, is his work coming home with him, you know? I want to say this has got, like, a bit more, like, body horror to it. And I think because it's, like, human experiments, like, it kind of add that, like, layer of freakiness to it for me. Maybe it actually leans more into, like, a sci-fi horror category. But don't let that put you off because, like, I'm not a sci-fi lover at all. Like, I get confused with stuff like that. But this book, yeah, I would say more sci-fi horror. I think, like, anything to do with, like, human experimentation, like that kind of thing. I'm going to talk about another book later on in the video which kind of touches on that. Like it really just like rubs me up the wrong way, you know. Right, I speak about Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson on the channel all the time, all right? So for fear of sounding like a broken record, I do have another Delilah S. Dawson included in this list. But if this is the first time seeing my videos, I didn't want to like not include Bloom, because it's one of my favourite books of all time and it's a horror. So I'm so sorry if you've heard me talk about this book 200 times, all right? But I just need to make everybody read it, all right? Skip forward like a minute if you're sick of hearing me talking about this book. We meet Ro. Ro has just moved to this new town. She's straight. And she meets a woman called Ash at the farmer's market. Ash has got like a little stall where she sells cupcakes, home-baked goods, that kind of thing. And Ash quickly, I can't fucking speak. Ro has just moved to a brand new town where she meets a woman called Ash at the local farmer's market. And she quickly becomes enamoured with her. She's like, oh, yeah, find you attractive. Let's get it on. And Ash makes baked goods like candles, that kind of thing. She sells them at the farmer's market. And they very quickly form a friendship initially. But like there's red flags everywhere. Do you know what I mean? As you're reading it, you're like, bloody hell, yeah, this is red flags. And then the whole book, you just have this sense of unease into what's coming. This is literally 200 pages. Go into it knowing that and just prepare to have your mind blown. I am constantly chasing the feeling that this book gave me. If I could like bottle it up and sell it, I would be a millionaire because the feeling that this book gave me, wow. Okay, hi, if you skipped, we're back. We're now going to speak about another Delilah S. Dawson book, which I actually pretty sure I've never spoke about on the channel because it isn't one of my favourites, but I am conscious I sound like a broken record just recommending Bloom all the time. Do you know what I mean? And the award for the prettiest book cover goes to Guillotine by Delilah S. Dawson. Now this very much gives like Knives Out, Glass Onion vibes, this book. Again, it's only a 200-page book. I love that about Delilah S. Dawson. She doesn't mess around. Do you know what I mean? She's coming here to deliver the goods in 200 pages. None of that messing around. I literally love pink and red together. So this cover just like speaks to me. It speaks to me on a different level. Like that's a theme for our wedding is pink and red. I love it. Not black, I know. Listen, I'm as shocked as you. So Des has gone on her first family holiday with her boyfriend, but there's a catch. Her boyfriend is mega rich. Like they've not just gone on holiday, they've gone on holiday to her boyfriend's private island. Like his family own a private island. That's how rich they are. And on this private island are just like loads and loads of servants. What's that film actually? The one with Channing Tatum. Blink Twice. This gives those vibes, this book does. Des is not used to this kind of luxury. Like she's like treating the servants really nice. And it's clear that they're not used to that. They are clearly like used to just being treated as servants. When once the ferry departs, they're trapped on the island. The waitresses, the servants are like, right, time's up, bitches, we're coming for you. It's just like a fast-paced, action-y kind of horror book. I didn't love it nowhere near as much as Bloom, but I did give it 4 stars. So if you've not had this on your radar yet, I'm putting it on your radar now. Delilah S. Dawson's actually got a new book coming out in September, I think, called House of Adil. And I've got it pre-ordered. Again, it's a little 200-pager and it's about cults. Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. Again, this is one that has come up as a horror when I was like filtering my read books. But I would say this is more of a horror/thriller. This was one of my favourite books of 2023. In Hidden Pictures, we meet our main character. She's called Mallory, and she's just got a brand new job looking after this little boy named Teddy. She's basically his nanny, and everything's going well at first. Like, she's bonding with the little boy when he starts drawing pictures, like kids normally do. But these pictures just get weirder, darker and darker. And not only that, the book contains said pictures. I will put some pictures on the screen of like the kind of thing you can expect. But when you're like reading the book and then you just turn the page and you get these pictures, like I feel like it just added like a whole nother level to the books. I'm not going to put all the pictures on, do you know what I mean? I feel like you should experience that as you're reading the book. I actually read this book physically, and I'm not a physical book girly, and I don't know how the pictures would translate on Kindle. So if you did read it on Kindle, let me know, like, do the pictures still come out all right? I can imagine they do, but, like, just want to put that out there. Yeah, the pictures. Oh God, guys, honestly, they could have gave me nightmares. They could. I don't know what it is. They just, yeah, it freaked me out. So like, has he got something going on? Do you know what I mean? Is he being possessed? Who's drawing those pictures? Because I don't think 5-year-olds should be drawing those pictures. Okay, I'm going to be going back to sounding like a broken record again, okay? But I had to include it. I had to include this book on the list. I couldn't not. I thought, I've literally just spoke about it in a video. Can I speak about it again? Yeah, I can. All right, this is my best horror books, and it wouldn't be right to leave it out because that is Tender is the Flesh by Augustine Barristika. And I know I spoke about it before with Intercepts, but something to do when it's humans, like being tested on, that kind of thing, it rubs me up the wrong way. All right, it gets right under my skin. Exactly what this book did. Because in this book, humans can no longer eat animal meat. This is kind of like a dystopian horror. Humans can no longer eat animals. There was a virus that like infected them all, so animals are a no-go. So instead of like everyone just becoming vegans and living happily, they start breeding humans for consumption. So they're not just going out and like killing normal humans, like humans are actually being bred for consumption. Mental. Oh, God. And we follow our main character who works in this human meat plant. And yeah, that's all you need to know. This is another short one. It's another short one. And I think quite a lot of horror books are around like the 200 and 250 page mark, which is maybe why I like them so much. But yeah, like as I was reading this, I was thinking this is actually mental. Like I can't believe somebody's even thought of this. And yeah, I feel like it's one of those books that has something to say, you know, there's like an underlying message in there, maybe about like the way we treat animals. Somebody actually left a comment on one of my previous videos saying about also how we treat women. So yeah, I definitely feel like there's like an underlying message to this book. Okay, and the last book we're going to finish on a bit of a lighter note, all right? Because I feel like some of the books we're speaking about have been extremely heavy. So You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kalin Bayun is actually a YA horror, but I had so much fun reading this book. If you're a fan of like horror movies and like the whole final girl trope, like you will absolutely eat this up. And also because it's set at like a scare maze, something about me is I love a scare maze. Like, do you know those like places you go to? They could be houses, they could be out like in fields where like actors chase you. Do you know what goes through my mind though every time I go to one of those? Like, have these people had DBS checked? Has somebody criminal checked, like done a criminal background check on these people? Like, how do you know one of them's not actually here to off me? Do you know what I mean? That's what goes through my head. And then I end up terrified even more so. Anyway, I'm going off track as per. So yeah, this follows Charity, who has got a job at one of these like scare mazes. So it's her job to like scare people when people actually start being offed and going missing. And yeah, it's got that final girl trope. Like, can Charity be like the final girl? And it was just an unserious, fun time, you know. I think this would be probably be a good one to read like around Halloween time. And it just gave all of the spooky, creepy vibes. I really enjoyed it without being too dark. So if you don't want to be freaked out, maybe pick up this one. I absolutely love the cover of this as well. It's given like 90s horror. Love it. And that's it, guys. They are some of my favorite horror books coming from a certified thriller girly, not like a big horror reader, you know. So if you're a thriller girly or boy, no judgment here. I hope you find some new faves. Please, please, please let me know if you pick up any of these books or if you've read any of them and what you thought of them. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you. And I shall see you next time. Also, it would literally mean so much to me if you hit that subscribe button and give this video a cheeky thumbs up. It literally helps me out more than I can explain. Thank you.